8. Gabby Castillo. In early 2022, 26-year-old influencer Gabby Castillo was arrested in Mexico City for being a suspected member of the elusive Union Tepito gang. At the time, Castillo had over 763,000 Instagram followers. But by looking at her online content, you wouldn't have guessed she'd be involved in illegal activities. According to the Spanish news outlet El Universal, Castillo was arrested on fraud and drug offense charges. The incident occurred when the reality star was in the process of starting a singing career under the stage name Briella Sanz. She was apprehended while traveling through Mexico City in her luxurious pickup truck while possessing around 1 million Mexican pesos, $52,961 US. 35-year-old Jose Yaref Soto Jimenez, whose family is suspected of stealing and reselling expensive used cars, accompanied the influencer. And what's even worse is that the authorities discovered hundreds of bags of drugs, as well as a firearm inside the vehicle. On top of other offenses that were brought against her, Castillo was investigated for allegedly taking compromising photographs of her clients that could have been used to blackmail them for money. She also has romantic ties to Oscar Andres Flores Ramirez, or El Lunares as he's sometimes called, who's currently serving a 20-year sentence for murder, selling drugs, and organized crime. El Lunares is supposedly the head of the Union Tepito gang, which is the main reason Castillo has been linked to the illegal group. The investigation into this case is ongoing, and no recent updates have been released. So it's unclear if Castillo really is a member of the gang or just involved with the group's dangerous leader. 7. Kayla Massa. New Jersey-based social media influencer Kayla Massa was accused of fraud after she allegedly scammed her followers on Instagram out of more than $1 million in 2018. Massa has over 330,000 followers on the platform, and she supposedly duped more than 45 people into sharing their bank account information with her. The whole scam was exposed in a detailed report from Quartz. Allegedly, Massa lured people into her legal scheme via her Instagram stories, where the woman would upload aspirational photos of cash, along with messages such as, "If you got a bank account and you're interested in making legal money, hit me up ASAP." And not surprisingly, the majority of people who fell for the scam were under the age of 18. According to official documents, Massa was accused of encouraging those individuals to completely empty their bank accounts before giving up their debit information and PIN in order to falsely allay any fear of losing money. Then she'd have her victims deposit large, fraudulent checks into the accounts, all under the names of legitimate businesses, before hastily withdrawing the cash. She allegedly moved so fast that neither the individuals nor the banks had time to flag the transactions as suspicious. After draining her victims' accounts, she would cut off all contact with them, even going as far as to block them on social media. And many of them were forced to pay the money back to the companies that were targeted during the scam, or had their cards canceled altogether. Some of the businesses that were used for the fraudulent checks also experienced losses. The investigation was launched back in July 2018, after the US Postal Service found out that 53 blank money orders had been taken from the post office in Berlin, New Jersey. An update from February 2020 claims that Massa was charged along with 9 other people who were believed to have been involved in the scam. Massa, as well as the other defendants, were charged with conspiracy to commit wire fraud and bank fraud. The estimated loss as a result of the scheme was estimated to exceed $1.5 million. Unfortunately, the outcome of this case is unclear, as it seems that Massa and her co-conspirators have yet to be sentenced for their crimes. 6. King Sid. YouTuber King Sid was arrested in early 2022 at a gas station in southern Florida after misusing 911 in order to pull a prank on the police. Sid, whose legal name is Jason Sid, posted footage of the incident to his YouTube channel after the fact. In the video, the influencer can be seen telling a friend to call the local police to report weird, suspicious activities that were taking place at the gas station. They claimed that a car in the parking lot was loaded with cocaine. However, the vehicle they'd reported to the dispatcher was really occupied by Sid and his buddies, and the truck was filled with Coca-Cola, not the illegal drug. The video that Sid recorded was titled "Coke Prank on Aggressive Cops," and since it was posted, it's been viewed more than 800,000 times on the platform. The Coral Springs police chief, Clyde Perry, posted a video to Twitter in which he said that he was offended by the absolute waste of resources the prank caused. He also explained that the whole scheme was hatched as a way to show how overly aggressive some police officers are when responding to these types of calls. But the YouTuber's plan backfired in the end because the officers couldn't have acted more professionally during their investigation of the fictitious situation. And after the vehicle's trunk was searched and nothing illegal was discovered, Sid and his accomplices were free to leave. According to Chief Perry, a total of 7 emergency calls were delayed due to the prank. He also said that this type of behavior often leads to deadly consequences and shouldn't be considered funny. But Perry seemed to have the last laugh as he captioned a video of King Sid getting arrested. The joke's on him. The 21-year-old was subsequently charged with misuse of 911, which is a third-degree felony. The 2 other people involved in the foolish prank weren't identified, so it's unclear if they were also apprehended. Sid has yet to be sentenced for the crime since the case is ongoing. 5. COURTNEY CLENNEY. OnlyFans model COURTNEY CLENNEY was arrested in Hawaii on August 10, 2022, after being accused of murdering her boyfriend, Christian Obumseli, on April 3rd at the home they shared together in Florida. CLENNEY, who used the stage name Courtney Taylor for her X-rated content, apparently admitted to stabbing Obumseli. However, she told investigators that she was only acting in self-defense. Initially, the police agreed with the 26-year-old, but after further investigation, the authorities charged her with second-degree murder at the end of 2022. Frank Prieto, CLENNEY's lawyer, seemed all too confident when he came out with a statement that said he was looking forward to clearing his client's name, even claiming to be completely shocked to hear of the woman's arrest. This incident occurred after footage emerged during the summer of 2021 that showed CLENNEY attacking Obumseli in an elevator inside their apartment building. The surveillance camera footage was eerily recorded just a month before the man was killed. CLENNEY told the police that she threw the knife at her boyfriend from 10 feet, 3 meters away. But according to the Miami-Dade Medical Examiner's Office, Obumseli sustained a knife wound that was 3 inches, 7.6 centimeters deep, which they claimed could only be caused by forceful pressure. The OnlyFans model, who made over $1.8 million in 2021, has pleaded not guilty to the charges brought against her. At the moment, she's being held in a Miami jail as she awaits her trial. 4. Ray Hushpuppi. 40-year-old Ramon Abbas, who's better known to his millions of followers on Instagram as Ray Hushpuppi, was sentenced to 11 years behind bars over charges related to a multi-million-dollar scam he created that targeted companies in the US and overseas. He was arrested for his crimes in June 2020 at his apartment in Dubai. The Nigerian social media influencer flaunted an extravagant lifestyle of luxury cars and private jets to his fans, all while claiming to be a real estate developer. But in reality, Abbas was making his money illegally through online hacking schemes that reportedly earned him over $24 million. The cybercriminals' targets included a foreign bank, an American law firm, and an unnamed professional soccer club in Britain, according to a federal sentencing memorandum from the Central District of California's U.S. Attorney's Office. After getting caught, Abbas confessed to a conspiracy to defraud a Qatari businessman out of over $1 million. He also detailed how he and his co-conspirators fraudulently acquired $923,000 from the law firm in New York he'd tricked into giving up their bank information. One of the man's accomplices, who hasn't been named, pleaded guilty to one count of money laundering in November 2020. He's now also serving 11 years in a federal prison and is required to pay over $30 million in restitution. The previous June, investigators in the United Arab Emirates searched Abbas's apartment at the Palazzo Versace resort in Dubai. Afterward, he was arrested and was subsequently handed over to FBI agents. At the scene, the authorities reportedly seized 13 luxury cars, almost $41 million, and computer and phone evidence related to the crime, like the email addresses of Abbas's possible victims. On top of his 11-year sentence, Abbas was ordered to pay $1.7 million in restitution to two of his fraud victims. 3. James Charles. Beauty influencer James Charles admitted in 2021 to sending several sexually explicit messages to not one, but two underage boys. The then 21-year-old initially denied the allegations against him. However, he ended up posting a video to YouTube in which he explained that he fully understood his actions and how they were wrong. James, who currently has nearly 24 million subscribers on the platform, was accused of grooming by one of the teenagers he was caught messaging. But James said he only flirted with them because he believed they were 18. Even so, many of his followers would not allow his behavior to go unnoticed, stating that he should have done more research before sending inappropriate messages. After receiving an insane amount of backlash for his behavior and losing hundreds of subscribers on YouTube amidst the scandal, James posted a 14-minute video titled, "Holding Myself Accountable." In the video, he confessed to acting reckless in the past, but said he only behaved that way because he was desperate, which many of his followers took as him trying to justify his actions. His excuses, though, didn't do much to persuade his audience, since he had a similar scandal happen back in 2019, when he made a promise to be more careful moving forward. Obviously, he was unable to stick to his word. Oddly enough, there were never any real charges brought against James. 2. Taylor Frankie Paul. Harriman, Utah influencer Taylor Frankie Paul was arrested in early 2023 after getting accused of assault. Paul has done well for herself on TikTok, amassing over 4 million followers on the app. But when a 911 call was placed on February 17th at about 11 p.m., accusing the woman of domestic violence, she was quickly apprehended by the Harriman police. One of Paul's neighbors reported the incident after hearing yelling and screaming coming from inside the influencer's home, according to a probable cause statement. When the authorities arrived at the woman's residence, officers spoke with both Paul and the victim at the doorway. They were then questioned about the reported commotion, which is when the victim explained what had happened. This seemed to anger Paul, who then lashed out at the victim, hitting and punching him right in front of the police, who ended up separating the two of them. Eventually, though, Paul was determined to be the primary aggressor of the argument. It was reported that the 28-year-old woman struck the victim several times during the argument. She also allegedly threw multiple household objects at him, including her 5-year-old daughter's wooden playset and metal chairs. Unfortunately, Paul's child had been on the couch in the living room during the altercation, and video evidence that was received after the influencer's arrest seems to suggest that the woman's daughter may have been injured during her mother's outburst. As a result, Taylor Frankie Paul was charged with criminal mischief, domestic violence in the presence of a child, and assault. The case is also currently being screened by the Salt Lake County District Attorney's Office to see if additional charges of reckless child abuse are necessary. The investigation is ongoing at the moment, but hopefully in the near future, more details will be revealed. 1. Danielle Miller. Danielle Miller, an influencer from Florida, was arrested in 2021 on wire fraud charges after flaunting her lavish lifestyle on social media. 32-year-old Miller was accused of using a Massachusetts resident's information in order to open a fake bank account. Then, after doing so, she applied for a COVID-19 relief loan using the fraudulent credentials she'd come to possess. As a result, she received a loan of over $100,000 as part of a federal program that was meant to aid small businesses during the global pandemic. However, according to investigators, the money she acquired was used to purchase expensive plane tickets and stays at luxurious hotels in California. At the time, Miller had a rather large following on Instagram, and prosecutors were able to use the photographs she posted against her. For example, the influencer's fraudulent bank account was charged at least $5,000 by the Petit Hermitage Hotel, and just a few days later, she posted a picture that geotagged the establishment. In March 2023, Miller pled guilty to fraudulently obtaining more than $1 million in loans related to the pandemic by using the stolen identities of over 10 individuals. Then, using that money for personal expenses, such as chartering a private jet and renting a luxury apartment. Her sentencing hearing is currently scheduled for June 27, 2023. Would you stay with your influencer boyfriend if he forced you to do things you weren't comfortable with, even though you made a lot of money making appearances in his videos? Let us know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed today's video, remember to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.